Kaya 959 on the street and on the air. This is The Hive with me, Bonola Beasting. And listen, darlings, I have got a legendary thespian within the vicinity. I mean, he's been on TV and on theaters for more than 35 or even 40
more
years.
Than 40.
More than 40 years,
Yeah.
right? Started out in 1976, correct?
Yeah, 1976. So if we count with that, I mean, what? It's almost like, what, 46, 48 years? In at it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Sello Maake KaNcube.
I would say, Bunola, thank you very much and for the time and the opportunity to have a chat with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming through to Kaya 959. Now, first and foremost, between television and theatre, which is which owns your heart?
I would say theatre, but they are all my babies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always regard like camera acting, that is film and television.
Yes, sir.
I always call it like it's microwave cooking.
Okay.
Yeah. Because your performance has got to be done like immediately, in front of the camera. And whereas with theater, it's almost like dry food cooking, dry food pot cooking, because you let it simmer. It's NL. Yeah. So, and, if Denzel was, had an interview just before, he just finished, I think, doing, if he's not even still doing it, Othello on Broadway. So he was being asked, but why do you always like going back to the theater? And his answer was, because that's where real acting is.
True.
On television, it's television is a director's medium, but theater, it is, the actor, you are there.
And
with the content. So yeah, that's what it is for me.
It's one of the topics I've always wanted to chat to an actor about is in music, there's royalties.
Yeah.
Why? And like, because why is it that with television and even theater, because I think now they're even recording what's happening on theater, why is it that actors are not getting royalties?
I don't know, but I've actually I've always kind of like stayed away, cocooned myself from the stirrings of things, but I mean, when it comes to television, we should be getting royalties, but, one is still having to fight for them and, to get them.
I mean, we're still watching Nkwesheng, guys.
I know.
Like should be they should be benefiting from his.
No, absolutely. I mean, but I guess it will be made right. I think the younger people
they'll have
the energy.
Master Herold and the boys.
Yes.
Now, why the story?
For me, it is, like there are certain plays or certain works that I think in my career I should have done. I'm actually playing catch up with myself, and it is a play that if ever maybe I should have probably have done it while I was in my 50s.
Yeah.
I'm already 65 and I'm playing somebody who's in his late 40s. I'm the character of Sam.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, on one hand, it is catch-up time, because, I mean, there are, works that you should grow with when as you develop in your career, and I'm sure even maybe as a musician, I mean, there are certain works that, if I haven't played this, I haven't played, you know what I mean? So even, I think, for me, it is that, and I remember I did a Othello with the late Sir Anthony Sher, but we did two Shakespeare plays. One, it was called Titus Andronicus, but it's not a very famous Shakespeare play.
Yeah.
And I remember as, there were, asking me to join them in the cast, I had already also had an offer to do Othello with a certain director called Martinez Basson.
Yeah.
But they convinced me out of, going for Othello. I mean, the temptation was to go for Othello because it is known.
Yes.
And they said, look, man, Shakespeare has got these two Moors. One is a villain and the other one is a hero. And this villain is never played too often. If ever you miss this opportunity, you might not even get another opportunity. But that one, you'll do it sometime in your lifetime.
Yeah.
And it so happened that when I was in the UK, after we did Titus Andronicus, I think, I was in the UK in 2001 doing The Lion King. And one day I get a call from Greg, who's Anthony Sher's partner.
Yeah.
Come, can we have lunch? I go there, we have lunch, and they say to me, the time has come to reverse the roles. Because he was playing Titus the hero, you know what I mean? And now it is time to reverse the role that he plays the villain and I'm the hero, And what I discovered was that I think Anthony had a series of, all the Shakespeare plays, he had actually timed himself that at certain point he's got to do this role, at certain point he's got to do this role, you know what I mean? And I think an actor has to go through that kind of journey, and especially in the theater, because like I said, like I quoted Denzel, that real acting is in the theater. That is where you actually develop your technique, and theater people who come from the theater and those who basically just started with film, there's a huge difference. With theater, it actually helps you to develop your own technique, of acting. And basically, sometimes I hear the younger actors, no, you've got only 2 takes out of this from me. That's not how it works. You know what I mean? You got to be the master of if you are the master of your craft, and you should be able to deliver on request, on demand, And I'm always fascinated by musicians, in a sense that musicians, whatever, a pianist, he would make sure that he learns that instrument, that he can play it in the dark. You know what I mean? And I don't think actors, we apply ourselves so strongly that we should know this instrument, how it works, and how to command it on demand. And I think if we are masters of our craft, we should be even developing a way of training actors to be able to deliver on demand.
Are there platforms out there that are, to teach the young ones these gems that you're talking about?
I think there are, but also I think, I never trained as an actor, but no, I never did.
What?
No, I never trained, but, I've trained on the job.
Wow.
Yeah, I've trained, and one of the things I remember, because I started also just doing theater only before I even got onto television, and when the run of a play would come to an end, that used to be my saddest moment and time, because that meant I don't have an opportunity to keep trying to find ways of doing this one thing and trying this way. And also, if I found something that is nice and know how to maintain it, you know what I mean? Because, and in that way, then you develop a technique on how you do it.
Master Herold and the Boys. Where is it happening?
It is happening at Theatre on the Square.
Yeah.
We started playing last week, Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's going to finish on the 28th of June. And we're playing Tuesdays to Friday at 7:30. And Saturday we have 2 shows at 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock. And then on Sunday, next week Sunday, Asiko. This Sunday we have a 3 o'clock performance on Sunday.
Yeah. What can we look forward to? Can I come with the kids? Can I come with the family?
There's a moment, but I think, if you come with a 10-year-old upwards.
Okay.
Yeah. Even maybe 7. 7 years upwards.
Yeah.
It's a little moment, but it's not that crucial, but I think, it might be a bit shocking for a 5-year-old.
But what can we look forward to? Who are the cast
Well,
members?
I mean, the cast members, it is me playing Sam.
Yeah.
And Master Herold is played by Daniel Anderson, and Wheelie is played by Lebohang Motaung. And we've been directed by a very amazing lady and powerful Warona Siane.
Ah.
Yes.
A female director.
Yes. The only rose among thorns in the rehearsal room.
Wow, man.
Yeah, I mean, Master Herold, the play was first performed in 1982. And coincidentally, the date was performed, it was my birthday. So when I turned 22, that was when the play was being, performed for the first time.
Yeah.
In the US. So I like, say, ooh, when I was celebrating my birthday, something was being born for me to do later in life.
Where can people get? Oh, sorry, no, go ahead. I interrupted you.
And basically, what I wanted to say. I mean, Master Herold is such a beautiful story, and Athol Fugard, I think I look at this piece of work as like he was actually taking himself to the TRC. Because it is based on his, it's partially autobiographical, and he actually, bears his soul and his thinking that he had when he was 17 years old, and it's a nice slice of life just taken out of his life, and I think it actually makes us see what South Africa used to be like, and what is still latently, is still, and issues that the play is confronting. The play are issues that we need to confront, like racism, and also, in an amazing way, he was also even tackling gender-based violence, in the story, but using a nice and beautiful metaphor of ballroom dancing, wanting to create a world without collisions.
Wow. Like, that was a drops mic moment. Where can people buy the tickets?
Well, tickets can be bought from web ticket, or at Theatre on the Square. You can call if you Google it, Theatre on the Square, which is at Nelson Mandela. And you can still order tickets from there or book tickets from there. And some for day now. It's either you have it before show or after show, but I think it will be nice to have it after show so that you've got something to talk about. You know what I mean? So either way, you can't be saying referring to the guy only now. You know what I mean? So come watch the play, and it is if ever you think you've seen me acting, you haven't seen me if you haven't watched me in theater.
I'm sure, hey?
And when are you coming? You must also make
No,
a
I
date
have
with
to,
us.
because clearly, it shares. No, it's a done deal. We have to. We have to.
Thank you very much.
Because, like I was saying to you before we started recording, that I've been watching you while I was in my nappies, even though I didn't know what was happening. My personal favorite roles out of all the roles that you've ever played. Competition Presley.
Malome. Gone too soon. Gone too soon. I mean, he was just basically, I think, at the cusp of his, career. When they say life begins at 40, at 40, that is when you are really kind of like mellowing into who you are and mellowing into your craft, mellowing into life.
The second, it was on the Queen.
And that one I had a ball. I had a ball.
Tell me something.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a script. I'm sure you sometimes go off tangent on that
me
script.
and Temba, we really did. We had fun. Some of these moments that they are clips of.
Yes.
They were not in the script. We would just throw things at each other. you know. But I really had a ball playing Khosi.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you know, and I actually realized that, you know, masculinity is it's imprisoning. You know, I mean, there are certain things that as a man, I mean, some of the things that I'm doing as Khosi, I will never dare do them as myself.
Yeah.
You know, so I realized, I mean, I was having so much freedom to play. You know, and it was a joy. It was I mean, every moment that you know, when they say action, I know it's time to have a shot, have a ball, and I will play. You know.
Sello, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming through.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, from seeing you on television in those roles, I think one has to come and see you in theatre, because I do believe that there's a lot more power there that's going to come from you. I'm very sure.
This is a very powerful story.
Yeah.
You know, I think it will make you squirm at certain times, but make you realize the indomitable spirit of humanity.
Again, Master Herold, where is it playing again?
Master Herold and the Boys at Theatre on the Square, finishing on the 28th of June.
Hey, oh man. Thank you so much, Ndata Sello, for coming through.
Thank you,
all the best. And thank you for using the gift that God gave you. And, you know, giving hope to other actors and even creators out there, because we look up to people like you.
Thank you, Matt, for the moment and the time and the... what a conversation.
Lovely stuff. There you have it, the one and only Ndata Sello Maake KaNcube. Of course, doing the Master Herold and the Boys. Do make sure that you Google and find out, and let's support the arts, guys. If we don't, then who will? I mean, really. This is Kaya 959 on the street and on the air.